Greetings to all viewers of Freedom TV channel. Thanks for joining us to watch and analyze the events happening in Ukraine and around the world. This is our time, and here are the top news stories at this hour. I'm Yuri Kovalyevich in the studio. We'll start this broadcast with information about yet another terrorist attack by the Russian Federation against Ukraine. It has no military purpose whatsoever. That's how President Volodymyr Zelenskyy commented on last night's Russian attack on Ukraine. He noted that Kyiv, Odesa, Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkiv, Chernihiv, and Cherkasy regions were under attack. The main targets of the aggressor were the energy sector and critical infrastructure. The head of the Ukrainian state also noted that strikes were recorded on ports, food distribution centers, and infrastructure.
It is known that 4 drones flew toward our neighbors Moldova and Romania. There is an exact timeline of their flights. That is why all partners must remember that lives need to be saved every single day. Weapons and air defense are just as important as sanctions pressure on the aggressor. There can be no pauses in providing assistance. The key thing now is for all partners to move toward diplomacy together through joint efforts. Pressure on Russia absolutely must work. Thank you to everyone who stands with Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine, on the social network X.
Ukraine's Minister of Foreign Affairs Andriy Sybiha also responded to the Russian shelling. He called it Putin's terrorist response to the peaceful proposals from the United States and President Donald Trump.
Ukraine is committed to peaceful efforts, and we emphasize the need to use all available tools to force the aggressor to end the war. Pressure on Russia, as well as the strength and unity of the transatlantic allies, remain crucial for ending this war. Andriy Sybiha, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, on social network X.
The number of people injured after last night's Russian shelling of Kyiv has risen to 14. 8 have been hospitalized, including a child, and 6 residents have died. Russia attacked in the evening with various types of missiles and drones. Destruction has been recorded in different parts of the city. There are interruptions in heating, and emergency power outages have also been introduced. Our film crew is at the site of one of the strikes, where work is currently underway to eliminate the consequences of the attack and provide assistance to the victims. All the details will be reported by our correspondent Yulia Granovskaya. Yulia, the floor is yours. Greetings. Please tell us about the consequences of the latest attack by the Russian army on the Ukrainian capital.
Yura, greetings to you. Indeed, we are currently on the left bank of Kyiv. Here, as a result of a massive Russian attack, a drone struck a 9-story building, causing a fire that engulfed the second entrance and several floors, from the 5th to the 9th. Now I'll ask the cameraman to zoom in. You can see that the work to eliminate the consequences is still ongoing. According to preliminary information, here, 2 people. According to media reports, one of the victims was a set designer who had lived here for 26 years. He was 65 years old. The second victim was a woman. Unfortunately, it should be noted that among the injured was the driver of our TV channel. The apartment next to his was hit. Let's listen to Vyacheslav.
It was real loud. Well, let's just say I truly felt it myself. But there was absolutely no panic, just a rather confusing and bewildering situation. I went out to the entrance, and the neighbors, to their credit, all went together as a group to the 3rd floor where we unlocked the apartment door. There were shards of glass everywhere, and many doors were simply blocked or jammed. We carefully helped people get out to the street. At first, I didn't even realize that the apartment next to mine was affected. But when the carbon monoxide started to get really strong, it became clear that we needed to evacuate.
The strike happened around 3 a.m. Vyacheslav told us that he still can't get into his apartment, just like many other residents of this building. Work is still ongoing, especially on the upper floors where there's a risk of collapse, so people aren't being let in. Many simply have no idea what's happening with their apartments right now. It's worth noting that the nearby buildings were also affected. The windows in the buildings were blown out, and a resident of this building, but from the 3rd entrance, told us that at the moment of the strike, she was also at home. She heard an unusual sound and didn't even have time to react before the shawhead hit the building. Let's listen to her.
Suddenly, I hear something flying through the air. I didn't have any time to react, so I hid. I quickly hid behind a cabinet, just instinctively did it without thinking. After a moment, I got up, screamed loudly, out of pure fear. It all happened so fast, and I was just acting on instinct, not really thinking about what I was doing.
Right now, rescue services are working at the scene, continuing to deal with the aftermath of the enemy's drone attack on Kyiv, and specifically on this building. In addition, rescue workers, police, and the Red Cross are here, providing all necessary support, including psychological help. They also assist with paperwork, documenting property, and offering other essential aid. Let's listen to the rescuers, what they have to say at this moment, and what consequences have been recorded in this building.
According to preliminary information, as a result of a direct drone strike, a fire broke out here from the 5th to the 8th floors, with partial destruction of both the building's facade and the floors between levels. At this moment, the fire has been extinguished. During the firefighting operation, the bodies of 2 deceased individuals were found. 17 people were rescued. Among them were 3 children. Rescuers are dismantling damaged structures to make sure that no one is trapped under the rubble.
This was not the only building affected by the Russian attack last night. There was also a Shahed drone crash recorded at a 22-story building. Fortunately, there were no fatalities there. However, there was also destruction, and people were injured. And unfortunately, another strike was recorded. In one of Kyiv's districts, at the logistics center of a supermarket shopping mall. Unfortunately, there are 4 confirmed dead there, and possibly more. Work to eliminate the consequences is still ongoing there. Right now, you can see on your screens the horror that's happening there, the massive hole caused by the strike. And let me remind you that last night, in 2 waves, the Russian Federation attacked Kyiv. They launched strikes with aeroballistic, ballistic, and cruise missiles, as well as Shaheds. Yura, we are continuing to work here and monitor the situation. And we will keep you updated. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Let me remind you, our correspondent is Yulia Granovska. She reported on the aftermath of the Russian shelling in one of the districts of the Ukrainian capital. And 4 people were injured last night in the Kyiv region. Among them was a 14-year-old child. The girl was hospitalized with a spinal injury. In the city of Bila Tserkova, a residential building was damaged and 4 more were destroyed. Rescuers evacuated 46 people. In the Brovary district, 3 people were injured. The consequences of the Russian attack were recorded in 4 districts of the region. Tents from the State Emergency Service and the Red Cross were set up on site to assist the population. Psychologists are also working at the scene. Debris removal is still ongoing. 6 people were injured as a result of the Russian attack on the Odesa region last night. Among them are 2 children. The aggressor used drones for the strikes, according to the State Emergency Service of Ukraine. Damage to civilian and energy infrastructure has been reported. At several sites, fires broke out, equipment was damaged, and all those injured received the necessary medical assistance. Rescue and emergency services continue to work at the scene, eliminating the consequences of the strike. Meanwhile, some schools in Odesa itself are switching to a hybrid form of education. As a result of another Russian attack, several energy infrastructure facilities have been damaged. Social buses are also being launched on the main routes in the city. Medical professionals are assessing the situation in hospitals. The issue of transferring critical patients to other medical facilities is being addressed. And overall, Russia launched nearly 1,000 drones and missiles at Ukraine last night. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, the Russians were targeting critical infrastructure facilities. Preliminary data from air defense indicate that 452 aerial targets were shot down or neutralized, including 438 drones. There was also a Kinzhal-era ballistic missile, 5 Iskander-K cruise missiles, and the same number of Kalibr cruise missiles, as well as 3 Iskander-M ballistic missiles. Meanwhile, Ukrainian Neptune missiles and Bars drones struck several of Russia's strategic targets. As confirmed by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, last night strikes were carried out on an aircraft plant and the Molnia UAV manufacturing facility in Taganrog, Rostov region, Russia. Explosions and fires were recorded at the scene. Ukrainian defenders also struck an oil terminal in Novorossiysk and an oil refinery in Tuapse. Oil tankers, loading stands, and an S-400 air defense missile system launcher were damaged. The extent of the damage is being clarified. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy may visit the United States before the end of November. This was reported by the head of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, Rustem Umerov. There, the head of state will meet with American leader Donald Trump to discuss the details of the peace plan. Umerov emphasized that Ukraine values the productive and constructive meetings in Geneva between the Ukrainian and American delegations, as well as President Trump's efforts aimed at ending Russia's war against Ukraine. In the near future, it is important to provide security guarantees to Ukraine in order to prevent the possibility of another Russian attack. This was stated by NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. He emphasized that Ukraine must remain as strong as possible in this struggle, both for itself and for the collective security and stability of Europe and NATO as a whole.
It is important that after a peace agreement is reached, Putin never tries to attack Ukraine again. And he won't if he knows that devastating consequences await him should he try to invade Ukraine again after a prolonged ceasefire, or even better, after a peace agreement is achieved. Mark Rutte, NATO Secretary General, in interview with Radio Liberty.
Subscribe to UATV English and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.